It's Subverted Tropes, a podcast about movies, featuring your hosts Daniel Spencer and Kate Harlow. Welcome to another episode of Subverted Tropes. I'm Dan.
I'm Kate.
And this is Kit.
Hi, I'm Kid Fitzsimons.
So, devotees of the podcast will recognize
all four of you.
Kit's name. We talked about him quite a bit in the Holiday Inn episode of our show because we felt he would do a fantastic job. Basically,
The whole thing.
yeah, Eddie Murphying that and playing every role in the movie.
It's time to clump it up.
Beautiful. Do you want to give a quick introduction?
Sure. I'm an improviser and parkour enthusiast who lives in the Triangle currently, and very excited to watch a movie with y'all.
We're thrilled to have you.
Very excited to have you. So today we're going to be talking about what is widely considered one of the greatest films of all time and one of the most influential musicals as well, Singin' In The Rain. It was actually almost a year ago.
We found out about it a year ago today, actually.
I found out about the movie?
About
Yep.
the movie, yep. Yep, we'd never known. No, we went and saw it in theaters. There was a theater that was doing
It was a special
release.
screening at
One
Raleigh
of those
Grand.
classics.
Yes. So we went to go see that, and we found out about it a year ago. Let's just jump right in, shall we?
Awesome.
So Arthur Freed, who is a producer for MGM for a long time, also dabbled in writing music, along with his friend Nacio Herb Brown, which is...
There's a reason they called him Herb.
It's quite a name.
It's quite a name. So they had written a whole bunch of songs together that didn't really have an outlet. So they decided to make a movie and just use those songs in it.
This is sounding very much like Mamma Mia's prequel.
It pretty
Yeah.
much is.
Oh, boy.
There was one song that was written originally for this movie, and even that was barely so. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But Arthur Freed hired Betty Comden and Adolph Green, who would write the script around the songs, but also they wrote the song Moses Supposes.
Gots to get in those rhyming names.
Right? is something else. But when Comden and Green got together, they wanted to remake a satirical film from 1933 called Bombshell. And they wanted Howard Keel to star as a Western actor who became a singing cowboy.
Oh, so not the same Bombshell from Smash?
No, not.
A very different Bombshell.
Very different. So then Gene Kelly found out about the movie and decided he wanted to be involved. And so they decided, yep, all right, we'll get you involved, and we'll scrap everything we've done except for the songs and completely rewrite the script.
Those are necessary. We are either having a garage sale or we are doing a movie, and we already wrote this movie.
Exactly. So they decided, since Gene Kelly was going to be involved, they obviously wanted to focus on dancing, and they felt the Roaring '20s and Hollywood would be a great place to get that going. So that's where they decided to set the movie. And then MGM decided that if Freed was going to be producing a movie with his own songs in it, then it only made sense to have Gene Kelly directing a movie that he was dancing in.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
A lot more mirrors set up facing the sets.
Exactly, yeah. So MGM decided also they would get Stanley Donen, who had just worked with Gene Kelly the two of them co-directed On the Town. With the success that saw, they decided these two needed to co-direct Singin' in the Rain. So the character of Lena Lamont in this movie, who is kind of the I don't want to say ditzy blonde, but the ditzy blonde.
Horrible.
The classic blonde.
Yeah, we can go with that. The high-pitched voice, that character.
The nails on the chalkboard blonde.
Yes. So that was actually a character that had been developed a while back by Comden and Green, along with...
So they're just throwing in whatever the hell they've got lying around.
Pretty much. This is like
This
Stone
is-
Soup
yeah.
movie.
That garage sale was very empty the next weekend.
So Comden and Green had been working with Judy Holliday in a comedy troupe called The Reviewers, and that's where they kind of developed that character who, talks like that and is maybe a little bit of an airhead. And so they really wanted to get Judy Holliday in that role, but she had just won an Oscar for Born Yesterday, a movie in which she plays that exact character.
Fair.
So,
And we're not reusing any old stuff in this movie.
No, this is all fresh.
All fresh.
Yeah.
So they decided that the studio wasn't going to be able to get an Oscar winner to go into a supporting role. So they
as her Oscar-winning role.
right.
Yeah.
So they instead went after the understudy for Judy Holliday when they were doing the stage version of Born Yesterday. And so they got Gene Hagen instead to play that role.
We understand you already know how to do this.
Exactly.
What can we say to get you to come do this?
We're just going to need you to do this again. It's not that much of a stretch from what you need to do. Even like, were you falling asleep doing your understudy stuff? That's fine. You'll be fine. Just talk in a voice that's really grating. Perfect.
This is also how Harley Quinn got invented.
Yes. Precisely. For the role of Kathy Selden, the main female lead, several actresses were considered, including Judy Garland. And this is where it gets a little skeevy.
Oh, boy.
Debbie Reynolds was 19.
Okay.
She was discovered by MGM when she was 16 and a beauty pageant contestant who was her talent was impersonations, but just one impersonation, just Betty Hutton, who was she played Annie Oakley in Annie Get Your Gun, the movie version.
I want to go back for just a second.
Yes, please.
You said that they discovered her when she was a pageant contestant, not necessarily a pageant winner.
I don't believe she won.
Okay,
No.
fair.
Because all the research I did just said contestant. I felt like if she'd won, they'd probably mention that somewhere.
But Betty Hutton impressions were like so rare back
Right?
then.
And I feel she had to have nailed it to catch MGM's eye.
If she
Right.
could have done that impression while twirling a baton,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
then she would
did.
have won.
They did need a lot more batons back then.
It's true.
But yeah, so MGM kind of had her. She was in a few different roles, and Gene Kelly saw her and was like, "Oh, no, we don't need any big name here. We need her on the set."
Okay.
Oh.
It feels a little,
Okay.
a little maybe. I mean, we don't know his motives. Maybe he was like, "No, she's just a really great actress."
Sure. Okay. Cool. Well, this took a turn for another classic Hollywood standard trope. Great.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, goodness. Let's get to talking a little bit about some of the songs in this movie. For instance, the song Singin' in the Rain.
Oh, that was from this movie?
It was from this movie, but this
Okay.
was not the first time that it was in a movie.
No?
No.
Okay.
It was used in The Old Dark House. It was used in the Hollywood Review of 1929.
I'm really hoping that they just changed the name of the song each time. The Old Dark House, it's the Old Dark House, the Hollywood Review of 1929.
Sadly, I don't think that's the case, although we don't know exactly what the lyrics were
We have an
for the
opportunity
Hollywood
now
Review
moving
of
forward.
1929 because it was sung by a rooster.
What? Hold on. Sorry. No, hold
What?
on.
Yep.
It was a what now?
Now, discovered 3 years earlier as a barn contestant. What? So how did they get a rooster to sing the song?
I don't know.
Auto-tune.
Yeah. The auto-tune capabilities in 1929 were just
Insane.
choice. But yeah, I think they probably synthesized a rooster sound, probably with I'm guessing a trumpet of some kind, and
It's just Mel Blanc doing
That's
cock-a-doodle-doo.
exactly what I was just thinking. Good news is we can have Billy West recreate it now.
Oh, nice,
course.
nice.
So yeah,
You know, I think that I recognize this rooster sound. He sounds very much like Miss Hutton. This rooster is incredible.
let's see. The Old Dark House, Hollywood Review of 1929, Speak Easily, Little Nellie Kelly, and The Babe Ruth Story.
Oh, okay.
It was in 5 movies before this one.
Before it graduated to getting its lead role.
That's right.
Well, it had to pay its dues.
That's true. You got to go through a lot of little bit parts played by a rooster, and then work your way up.
And have, I guess, Babe Ruth sing about you. I really need to see The Babe Ruth Story now just to see how this song is featured.
It's
I'm
actually
really curious.
It's actually they have a hole in a bat, and the bat sings it. It whistles it in the Babe Ruth Story.
Oh yeah, I'll bet that's a real touching moment. So then there's the scandal's not the right word. Controversy is the word I'm looking for. The controversy
A second one now.
about the song "Make 'Em Laugh," which is a fantastic number.
Sure.
It is.
Just pretty much note for note, Cole Porter's "Be a Clown."
Uh-huh.
So the only really original song for this movie was stolen word for word, or not word for word, note for note from another song.
Unword for unword.
Yes. So like,
Oh, you know, that does make a lot of sense. His name is literally Art Freed.
that is brilliant. I had not even thought about that.
Yeah.
Does
Yep,
not
there you go.
care about anyone's rights to a
Nope.
song. It is public
It's
domain.
actually
if I say
Banksy.
so.
So Gene Kelly and Stanley Donen wanted Donald O'Connor to have his own dance number, but they didn't have a song that really fit into that. So they went to Freed and Brown and said, hey, what can you guys do? We want it to be similar to Be a Clown,
And we need it by 9 a.m. tomorrow.
pretty much.
Well, we've got this magnetic poetry over here that we could shuffle and throw at a copy of Be a Clown.
Yeah, look, this works.
Wow.
This
It's like a
me
kid
landed
trying
upside
to
down.
skip plagiarism. Like you just go through and change every third word so that the software can't
Now,
detect it.
This is I met a woman. I was in a play with her who writes romance novels, and that's how she like sends them to publishers. She'll write one novel, and then she'll change like the main characters' names, their interest. And then she'll read it through a second time, and if anything doesn't make sense, she'll rewrite those sentences. But it's word for word the same story until it gets published, and sometimes not even stopping then, because who cares if this romance from this company sounds similar to a romance that was written by a different author, because she's got a lot of pseudonyms, 2 years ago by a different Harlequin romance company.
Grandma Smut is Grandma Smut is Grandma Smut.
That's true.
Wherever
That's
you
true.
go.
Oh God, my brain.
Oh,
That's-
whoops.
just
no.
yeah. I don't like the phrase "grandma smut." That
That's
just
what I called
brings
the
up
Harlequin
some-
romances when I worked in the library.
Oh God.
That's actually what I consider when I think of the name Debbie Reynolds, honestly, when I think about it.
Yeah.
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 Okay. All
I can
right.
do that.
Fair.
Give me 2 seconds. So, this movie was very taxing for everybody, particularly physically.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I think most famously the shooting of the "Singing in the Rain" sequence. Gene Kelly had 103-degree fever.
Cooled down by the rain.
Right.
It's the best time to be dancing in the rain.
It is not.
No.
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 So there's a rumor that it was done all in one take, but that is not true. It took like several days, all of which he was feeling terrible during, and they had to like rig up all these like black tarps to make it look like night and make it they were going through a drought. that whole time.
Oh no.
And so having to, it was not great.
No.
There's just a lot of people standing right outside those tarps. Like,
Yep.
Gene, get it together.
Please, sir, can I have some water?
Just standing downhill from the soundstage. Oh yeah. Oh, that's delicious. Ooh, I can taste the Gene Kelly runoff.
So Make 'Em Laugh, as we discussed, controversial song, fantastic number.
Sure.
I love watching Donald O'Connor in that number. So at this point in his life, he was on 4 packs a day.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And
Of what?
Cigarettes.
Oh, okay, not gum. All right, fair.
Not gum packs, no. But yeah, so he was smoking 4 packs a day, and like,
Make him hack.
yeah. So
if you're feeling confident about your New Year's resolution to get in shape and you still can't accomplish that number as a non-smoker, you're failing.
I like as the before after in like a Nicorette commercial or something. Like before I was doing 4 packs a day. After I recreated the choreography for Make 'Em Laugh. That's amazing.
yeah. The thing is, though, it was really very physically taxing for him, and he was hospitalized for a week afterwards.
Oh my God.
Due to exhaustion.
Sure.
He got out of the hospital and went to Gene and asked how everything turned out. And Gene said, well, no one actually checked the aperture on the camera.
No.
So everything we shot is unusable and we need you to do it again.
Oh,
And
no.
and Donald just sort of leaned sideways with a lighter underneath the cans of film that had Singin' In The Rain on it, and I'm like, sure, we both do.
Got a lot of work to do, friend.
Got a lot of work to do. But no, as a professional that he was, he had no problem getting back up on that horse.
Sure.
And this time wasn't hospitalized.
Because his insurance would only pay for 1 week of hospitalization. The rest of it was at-home care.
Yeah.
Mostly he just needed to get through it because standing in the wings was that rooster who was like, I'll do it. I will do it.
I will take your place, Donald O'Connor.
Cock-a-doodle. Cock-a-doodle.
So Debbie Reynolds.
So disappointed.
Well, I'm not disappointed in Debbie
Oh,
Reynolds.
Debbie
I'm
Reynolds.
sad about what happened to her. So she was also a gymnast, but she didn't really have any dancing experience. Which adds, I think, to the kind of skeeviness of Gene Kelly deciding we definitely need her, even though she doesn't dance.
Oh.
And he actually had a really hard time being patient with her during the scenes where she was supposed to be dancing and struggling with it.
Sure.
Aw.
Because on camera was very possibly not the place that he was excited about seeing her.
That, I think, is maybe more accurate than I'd like to admit. But he wound up yelling at her, and she ran off and was found crying under a piano by Fred Astaire.
That's the sequel to Singin' In The Rain, right? Crying
Yes,
on
crying
a
on a
piano.
piano. But yeah, so Fred Astaire found her, and she explained everything, and he was like, okay, well, I'll teach you how to dance.
Okay, this is a 100% a Fred Astaire movie. It's called Crying Under a Piano, in which Fred Astaire plays the romantic lead, finds Debbie Reynolds very sad, and teaches her how to dance.
And Edward Horton appears at some point in the movie just to say, my word.
Oh, my word. These fractured fairy tales are getting out of hand.
Oh, man, I miss Fractured Fairy Tales. Fred Astaire taught her how to dance, and Gene Kelly would apologize for treating her so poorly and admit that she was a great actress and
And so beautiful.
and just
And just 19.
have you seen those perky dance steps that she does?
Oh, goodness.
No.
Yeah, no. Anyway, so in the Good Morning number, She does a good bit of tapping.
Morse code.
Probably so.
Okay, fair.
I haven't seen this since I learned Morse code. It's in my head now.
Okay.
So while we're watching it, I'll see if I can
Decode it.
decode it. It was probably something along the lines of ow, 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 because she burst so many blood vessels in her feet during this number that she had to be carried off stage to her trailer. Executive producer Ripley jumped in my lap with her sharp nails right as I said carried there. So I think that added some emphasis to the story.
Blood drawn on and off camera.
Yeah. The sad thing is that Gene Kelly dubbed over her tapping with his own because he felt like it wasn't loud enough.
Hold on. Sorry. What now?
So,
He dubbed her tapping?
yes.
Real enthusiasts can tell that those are very masculine taps.
They just have a harder thud. But yeah, no, so he went into a dubbing room and tapped out all of her steps.
Oh, that is...
So she burst all those blood vessels pretty much for nothing.
That is cold-hearted.
It
well,
is.
no, I mean, she needed to get the visuals in there, certainly.
Yeah.
I guess, and maybe not necessary for her to wear the tap shoes in that case. She could have just...
There's footage somewhere of Jean dressed in her costume doing the whole number.
I would pay good money to see that. But yeah, Debbie Reynolds said that Singin' in the Rain and childbirth were the two hardest things she ever had to do in her life.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. So, Debbie Reynolds demolished herself for this movie.
Yes.
So did Donald, what's his face?
Donald O'Connor?
Donald O'Connor. I keep wanting to say O'Connell because it rhymes better.
Donald O'Connell.
Donald O'Connell.
It's a good name.
Mostly supposes that it's Donald O'Connell.
Donald O'Connor. And Gene Kelly was not even immune to the travails of making this movie.
Correct.
And this was all because they had odds and ends that they needed to get up. What was there a reason? They just had some songs.
They were just real proud of these songs, and they wanted to make a movie that used the rest of these songs that they'd put together because they'd written so many together. And they're just like, oh, well, we've got these songs just lying around, taking up space. So let's throw them into this movie. Which, I mean, up to this point, all of this sounds like it is going to make a train wreck of a movie.
It shouldn't work out as well.
We are delving dangerously close to springtime for Hitler here.
Yes, especially because it's Adolf Green was one of the writers.
Yeah.
That is not a name that you can just pair with anyone these days.
That's right. Everyone knows that Hitler is just German for green. So it's very clearly he just faked his death and wrote a musical.
Oh no. We're back.
His target was to come to America and destroy us from the film industry out.
That's right.
Tried to take out Gene Kelly, failed. Tried to take out Donald O'Connell, failed. Tried to take out Debbie Reynolds, grandma smut.
All right. Well, I think this is as good a time as any to take a break and watch this movie.
Let's
All
go
right.
do it.
All right. And we're back.
Oh boy.
What a movie.
Yeah, Debbie Reynolds looked a lot less like Jerry the mouse than I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
That's fair.
different. Very
That's fair.
different. That movie was very white.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Very
Yeah.
white. Especially considering that Rita Moreno got a credit.
Yeah.
I didn't notice her. Was she did I just blink and miss her?
Pretty much. Yeah. I forget exactly where she is, but she's in a very small, very, very small role, but enough to get a credit and
I guess.
launch her career to
Good job, Rita.
being an amazing EGOT winner.
Yeah.
Credited last night at the Golden Globes as somebody's guest.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Good job, America.
Yes.
Boy.
Good job.
Oh boy. Yeah. Very, very white. Very male-dominated movie.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
technically it passed the Bechdel test, but barely.
because Lena was yelling at her at one point,
About a cake.
like, "Oh, why'd you do that?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
basically.
cake was a woman.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, it was like pink and floofy. Mostly whipped cream.
Ooh, that's
a
question.
Hollywood woman.
Now, I did have a question. Speaking of pink and fluffy, like I noticed a lot of the dresses in that fashion number coming back. Was that on purpose? Did they do every one of those dresses later in the movie?
I don't believe so. They were similarly designed because they were all designed by the same person.
Apparently didn't have a lot of range.
But
Enough to get hired, enough to design however many different numbers or outfits are in that one number. And then that's it. Those are all the variations.
pretty much.
Well, it's from the fashion of 1929. They've brought
right.
it back.
Let's talk about the Broadway ballet number.
Oh boy, the
Fever Dream.
the La La Land 17-minute epic with the button at the end of it being, well, we haven't filmed it yet, so I can't imagine it.
Exactly.
Fair.
Amazing.
So that was $600,000 to make, which
Sure.
was significantly over budget.
Yeah.
And originally, Debbie Reynolds and Donald O'Connor were supposed to be in it as well, but they had other engagements at the time of filming. So rather than waiting and filming it at a later time as originally intended, they just shot what they shot. They used Sid Charisse and launched her career and like crazy thing. But it could have been a lot more racist.
Oh, good.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot more than just the mammy references from Donald O'Connor and
the blackface.
the blackface natives in the silent movie portion.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original plan was that in that number, we were going to see the three of them riding out in a covered wagon to go explore the West and then getting attacked by Native Americans.
Oh, gosh.
But
then a
they
sandbag falls on their
saved-
head. No.
I will say, I was promised a sandbag falling on Gene Kelly's head, and I actually got my hopes up a lot.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's true. He kept asking. Like, when's it going to happen?
And is it?
But they managed to not get scalped by the Native Americans by
Because
speaking
they were all taken out. Okay, I'll stop.
by speaking the universal language of song and dance and delaying things for just enough time for the cavalry to show up and kill the Native Americans.
Yeah. They
then-
used that ending in The Searchers, I believe.
And then Hugh Glass comes in and convinces everybody to be cool and just trade beaver pelts.
Exactly. Yeah. So that very, very fortunately got canned.
Good.
And we got the Broadway ballet number that we got, which was still pretty freaking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, real weird.
There,
Real weird.
so there. Yeah. There was a very distinct plot line going on in that. And in the movie, they say, oh, this scene is setting up the dream sequence that is going to be the dancing cavalier flashback, or like to the French Revolution.
Yeah.
And then the movie, as it ends, like not the movie within the movie, the Dancing Cavalier ends with him singing a love song to his love in the French Revolution, which means that in their movie within a movie, there was no flash out of the flashback.
Right.
They
It just
Also,
ends there.
these
So
two
actually, he died.
Right.
Jacob's
this-
ladder. It's always of Jacob's ladder.
Because, like, these two were clearly French nobility in the movie. How did they survive the French Revolution? That did not go well for them.
Also, when they were talking about the setup for this French Cavalier movie in the first place, they were talking
She was
about
supposed to be like a simple woman of the people,
Yes.
not the highest nobility, like save
Right.
only the queen.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a mess.
Yep.
So let's talk about the voices for the movie scenes that we see. The plot, of course, is that Kathy Selden is voicing Lena Lamont's lines.
Sure.
But that's not actually Debbie Reynolds' voice.
What? No.
What?
What? No.
Yeah. So the voice that we hear in those scenes, both talking and singing, is not Debbie Reynolds. It's being dubbed over.
Wait. Okay. No. But
the real actress,
wait. Hold on.
we're going to find out
Is
in 10 years.
Is she?
There's a time capsule.
No, you're gonna find out in like 2 minutes.
Is she credited? Is the voice for Lena Lamont credited in the credits?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh no.
Because it's Gene Hagen's actual voice.
What? No. What?
So Gene Hagen is dubbing for Debbie Reynolds, dubbing for Gene Hagen's character.
It's
It's an inception. The hallway was there.
it's a dubbing negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one of so Gene Hagen actually has a very, very nice voice. Like her speaking voice and singing voice is great. But like because she was this character who had this shrill voice, it wouldn't really work to actually have her doing it. But they wanted the voice to be different from Debbie Reynolds' actual talking and singing voice, so that audiences wouldn't be confused between what was going on in the movie within a movie and what was actually Debbie Reynolds. So they had
confusing.
Gene Hagen
So they-
redub the lines.
So
my
they
God.
simplified it by making it the most complicated bait and switch of all time. Oh,
That is
wow.
correct.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So far we have that Debbie Reynolds didn't do her own tapping. Debbie Reynolds didn't.
She tried, though.
She tried.
She tried real hard.
Super hard, bloodily hard. And then she also didn't do her own dubbing for the only reason why anyone is supposed to like applaud her character in the movie.
Right, right. The only time that she actually does that it's actually Debbie Reynolds' voice dubbing for Lena Lamont is at the end when she's
Singing in the Rain.
for the Singing in the Rain bit when they pull the curtain back. Other than that, it's Gene Hagen dubbing for herself,
Amazing.
which is I think that's my favorite piece of information I've found out in any of our episodes so far. That's just so
It's so perfect.
it's so great. It's dubception to a like
Yeah.
it's just so perfect.
Yeah. Wow.
That's going to do it for the information that I have for the movie. So let's talk about some of the tropes that we get, because there's a lot of them.
The movie within a movie trope.
Yep, the movie one of the movie. Yep, that. There's the let's make a movie about making a musical so we can have an excuse to do a bunch of crazy musical numbers, a Broadway ballet.
Like I feel like this was the thing that we kept seeing throughout was this making fun of Hollywood for the things that they are applauding Hollywood for in the first place. The what turns out to be Oscar bait as a trope of as long as we make you feel a little bit sheepish, we can really love everything that we do.
Yep.
Yeah. Funny, the producer character, he was actually based off of Arthur Freed, but they didn't tell him that until after the movie had been released.
And he dubbed all of his lines.
Well, it's funny because he actually did dub a song in Meet Me in St. Louis.
What?
Yes.
What is
Yeah.
happening? Gene Kelly is actually Fred Astaire in this movie. He's
Yep.
what is okay?
Nobody
sure.
is who they appear to be.
Exactly.
Sure. That's fair. That's
The
fair.
craziest thing is that Donald O'Connor was actually a sheepdog in a suit the whole time.
No, I knew that. I knew that.
Okay,
that's,
cool.
That's one of the
That's one of the well-known facts.
classic
That's-
facts about Donald O'Connor.
The tapping was actually the rooster.
The rooster.
They're very
It's
talented.
He's just pecking at some birdseed on the floor.
Yep.
I am going to do my best to try and find like a clip of that.
Yes.
It's got to be somewhere on YouTube, and if I can find it, it's going up on the blog.
Yes,
because
please.
it's got to be somewhere, and I just want to understand it so much. How does a rooster sing "Singin' In The Rain"?
Now, that was very obvious. The choreography during the Singin' in the Rain, you can tell that he's got a fever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is
loopy as hell.
Yeah, he's
like-
losing it.
Every other scene, he is like popping and locking compared to that scene.
This
Yeah.
one, he's just like, he's barely standing up.
Yeah, it's his flow is very natural in all of his other dances, but in that one, the flow seems to be
Cough syrup driven.
yes, very, very much driven by the cough syrup. But like that's the thing is that it's still a really great dance number.
Yes.
It is.
Because Gene Kelly, for
It's
my
just,
money, is
it's just
the
out
best.
of place compared to all the rest, and especially
Yeah.
jammed right in the middle.
Agreed.
Which is hard to do in a movie that was trying so hard to set up each number. Like,
Oh yeah,
the fact that at the point when he pulls her into the empty sound studio and goes, all right, hold on, let me just take 2 minutes to literally step by step come up with the scene, the location, and the verbal setup for me to be able to do the song that we clearly have no place for in the movie.
That also brings up another great point, the trope of, I've met you twice. I'm in love with you.
yeah, yeah. And the I'm going to be a dick to you, so you're going to fall in love with me.
And the like birdie, the ducky character, like standing off to the side.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
like,
Yeah, guys. Yeah, get it.
I might as well be Danny Kaye, and I'm going to do all your jokes. All your jokes.
Yeah, Donald O'Connor is very much a mix of Danny Kaye, and I think you said Groucho Marx at one point while we were watching.
Oh, gosh.
Like, just every line that I say is going to be a hammy joke.
It's not his fault. They didn't build him any other character.
It's true.
That was the first moment that I noticed that there was a lot of dubbing in this movie, was when he jumped onto the piano at the start of Make 'Em Laugh. I keep wanting to say Be a Clown. When he jumps up on the piano and he walks up it, it makes the like walking on a piano noise, and
But
it
he's
is
not-
not what
That's
he's
not what
stepping on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you couldn't have him walk on the real piano?
Yeah, well, audience intelligence was very different back then. Because, I mean, people in the 50s were just dumb. I take it back. I know we've got a lot of old listeners to this podcast, a lot of octogenarians. So you're not dumb. Please don't sue us.
Also,
Just keep trying to get us sued.
I just like another one of the tropes is just like not presenting legal matters in an actual legal way. Like when she was talking about her contract says she's in charge of all of her publicity, but that means that she can put out any words whatsoever and the studio can say nothing about it. Like whatever she says has to be true.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
in my contract. I definitely got it set up that I could say whatever words I wanted. And you would have to
apparently I've
agree.
never exercised it until this minute.
Well,
it seems to me if you're going to have that written into your contract, I don't think it's standard. I think you'd have to ask for it. I think it has to be something that you were planning on doing all the damn time.
That's totally a Green M&M's moment.
Without a doubt. doubt. Without a doubt.
Especially when she points at the contract and it's clearly on the first
Just
page.
the introduction, like, this is a contract for the employment.
It's like the holder dealing with the employer agree that the holder will be able to do whatever lies she wants, say whatever she wants about us, and we will bend over backwards to make sure you believe it. She is her own voice, even when someone else is supposed to be dubbing her in the plot.
Right.
What?
Right.
Oh my God.
Gracious. So we also have the trope of, and it's not quite as evident, I think, just because Gene Kelly looks very young, but like he was 40 when this movie came out.
Oh, really?
And Debbie Reynolds was 19, so less than half his age. And I mean, that's been a long-standing trope.
I don't know why I thought he was older. No, I do know why. It was the fact that we were watching it in high definition.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
This
his
is another
face.
movie that's
Yeah.
not kind. High definition is not kind to time.
Yeah, no.
There's an amazing in the scene where they're doing the Broadway 17-minute dance sequence. There's a moment when he's standing on one side of his female partner, and on her other side is her gangster boyfriend, and her gangster boyfriend has an enormous fake scar down his right cheek, and it just really highlights that Gene Kelly has a real scar on his left cheek that's just about as deep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's not good.
And also that prosthetic scar on the gangster's face looked real bad.
Boy.
HD is not kind to movies made, I'm going to say, pre-95.
The only movie that I have ever liked better in high definition is LA Confidential.
Ooh.
Because when you see Kim Basinger's character in high def, the fact that she doesn't look like who she's supposed to look like, and the fact that her makeup looks like it was put on 2 days ago and she has been touching it up ever since, like, really highlights everything that goes into her character.
Yeah.
So it adds this meta level where the film wasn't.
So now you have to promise to come back and do LA Confidential with
All
us.
right. Well, I
Bingo.
guess I will.
Have to do
Okay.
that. Yes. It's been too long since I've seen LA Confidential, and that is a fucking phenomenal movie.
There was the Looney Tunes cartoon style trope of his introductory story about his background.
Yes.
Like, they do
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
a lot. Like, the only way we can set this up is by saying the exact opposite of what's happening.
That's another thing, I guess, about the intelligence of the audiences at that point, is that studios felt that they had to hit you over the head with things for you to understand all the implications, and that drives me nuts. I love it when a movie can talk about someone's past without talking about someone's past. I think it's very, very, it's just aggravating when it's done the way that it was done like this, where it's just like, we're gonna hit you over the head.
Although I will say that in this particular situation, the game of this movie was movie within a movie.
Yeah.
So they took that idea of, let's do a musical movie about making a musical movie that has within it a moment where it's the framing device is that this guy just wants to come to Broadway to be in a musical. And the only way that they can get to that point is by having him talk about his vaudeville past by spicing it up to make him seem like a movie star, which is exactly the plot of the musical movie within the musical movie. Like, oh, I just want to be a star, so I'm going to do whatever's necessary. And when he gets on screen, he becomes this French cavalier. I still don't understand how they got away with refilming an entire movie that had failed in the 6 weeks between the first screening and the premiere.
I mean, that's some work, some dedication. I'm just surprised that he was able to sell it to the studio as easily. We need to spend pretty much all of the budget of this movie again and just completely reshoot it.
Also, I know I'm not the person who wrote it, but I'm the star, so it's a really good idea, guys.
Also, we've tacked on this complex subplot where what we're seeing in the movie is actually just a weird flashback brought on by a sandbag to the head. So we need to work that part into the beginning first. That's going to take like no time at all. Don't worry about that.
$600,000. What?
As much as it has its issues, I do love this movie.
I love it.
It's great.
But I love making fun of lots of things that I love.
Without a doubt. You make fun of me all the time.
Exactly.
Well, I love all of the movies that have taken from this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many. I mean, we mentioned La La Land. The Coen brothers, Hail Caesar has, I mean, the entire scene, the guy who's going to be young Han Solo.
Him.
Where he does an entire scene that's basically the microphone scene from this movie, where he is playing his character is a cowboy character who gets put into a fancy movie, like a sitting room drama, and he comes in with his Western drawl, and Ray Fiennes is trying to get him to actually do this line, and he is doing that same diction problem that we saw from Lena in this movie. Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. So fun thing about that, Malcolm McDowell ran into Gene Kelly at some event shortly after Clockwork Orange came out. Gene Kelly would not talk to him at all because he was so bothered about the use of that song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I hadn't seen Clockwork Orange. I had a really shitty day at work. I came home and I pulled up Netflix. I'm like, I feel like watching something. Decided, why not? I'll throw on Clockwork Orange.
Bad choice.
Turned it off after the first scene. I still haven't seen it.
Oh man,
it's really good. It's rough.
Yeah.
It is a lot of rough. Is a very good way to put it. It's got a 3-act structure where you don't like the character in the first act, you really don't like him in the second act, and then you don't like the fact that you're almost sorry for him in the third act up until the very end, at which point you're like, nope, still a bad character.
Oh God,
I don't like this person.
Yeah, but it's a really good adaptation of the book, which is hard to read.
100%.
Because the book is written in a made-up different dialect. So, like, if you're having trouble following it, like, you're SOL. Like, it's just roll.
That sounds like
tough.
Not my bag.
Oh man.
Oh, but yeah, it's definitely a delight of a movie. Although it could have been, I don't know, made better. Obviously, different times.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of. I like the fact that there is a lot of behind the scenes drama on a movie that is about how much behind the scenes drama there is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very very true to its creation.
Yeah.
So we kept talking about it during the movie. So let's really quick cast the remake of Singing in the Rain.
Okay. I think we came to an early consensus about Donald O'Connor being Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes,
Cosmo.
definitely.
Just super easy. I personally think I saw a very specific quality in Gene Kelly. I would recast it with John Cena.
Yes.
God, though, I would love that so much.
He's just got the facial structure. There is one moment when he gets up on the ladder for his ridiculously set up sunset scene in the empty studio when I did go, well, maybe The Rock, but it's definitely a wrestler of some sort.
Yeah. I'm all on board with John Cena.
I tweeted this at one point, and I would love for it to become a bigger thing. I really feel sorry for all of the parents out there who have no idea what the hell John Cena's whole bag is. Who like, oh, I took my kids to see Ferdinand. I'm going to look up this voice actor, John Cena.
The thing is, they wouldn't be able to see him.
No, but they would be able to see that the kid with the two recorders in his nose.
Oh, one of the best vines out there.
That's one of my favorites.
Debbie Reynolds, I would say Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think she has a similar wide-eyed, strong character.
Yeah.
Like, I just watched the last 15 minutes of Mother. That's how I watch all Aronofsky movies.
I think that's a good call.
Yeah.
And watching that last 15 minutes, it struck me that the reason why J-Law should not have been in that movie is that the entire point of the movie is how scared she is and how out of control. And the entire time it feels like it feels like Sigourney Weaver walking to a room full of aliens and going, "Oh no, all these aliens, I can't do anything about them." Like, I guarantee you that Jennifer Lawrence would kick the shit out of any 100 people in that room. She knows all the moves.
Yep.
She does not need a stunt woman at all.
Yeah.
And that's what Debbie Reynolds felt like in this movie.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that she apparently can't tap dance or sing for her dubbing partner.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who would play Lena Lamont?
Amy Schumer.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good call, I think.
Oh my gosh, especially with J-Law.
J-Law,
They are such good friends. Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
That would be really great.
And like all sorts of connections right there, because then she also has had love scenes with John Cena.
It's
That's
true.
right.
Perfect.
My only concern with his casting is that we did criticize how white this movie was, and then we just recast it with a bunch of white people.
Okay, all right. So
as much as I love
so the
idea-
studio head, any number of powerful black men,
Fair.
or women, black women. Viola Davis, done.
I love it. I will say, as much as I love the idea of Cosmo being played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I could also see Donald Glover kicking ass in that role.
Oh my God, yes.
I don't particularly look forward to Donald Glover saying the line, "The dancing mammy."
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think this should be a shot-for-shot, line-for-line remake. If not just for that purpose.
Maybe what we can do is we can have the movie have the exact same songs, but they'll rewrite the entire plot to be a completely different movie.
Recast that rooster.
Yes,
that rooster.
Oh man, that's the name of the Kickstarter that we're gonna make to fund this project.
Recast that
rooster. The remake of Singing in the Rain.
The 25th movie with Singing in the Rain in the plot.
Oh, gracious. Goodness gracious me. Well, this has been a ton of fun, Kit. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did.
Please call back soon.
I will.
Please do. I'd love to take some time if you have anything particularly that you'd like to plug.
If you're in the area, the Durham Chapel Hill area, definitely stop by the Varsity Movie Theater. We've got shows, improv shows every Saturday at 9:30. So would love to see folks out there and just check out the entire improv community around the Triangle.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. Again, Kit, thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts. We are on Twitter at Subverted Tropes, and we've got a Gmail at subvertedtropecast@gmail.com.
As always, big thanks to our logo designer, Gracie Bolland. You can find her on Instagram at a fandom doodler, and her Etsy shop is That Crazy Princess. And please check out our blog. We'll throw up a link. We'll throw up a whole bunch of links to all the improv
Whole bunch of
in
links.
the community that Kit mentioned. at subvertedtropecast.wordpress.com. And we're going to do our darndest to find a copy of that rooster singing.
Kit is at folio_ninja. Am I right? Folio_ninja. You'll be treated to some fantastic haikus and drawings and just some real great content. So
just a lot of creative content out of this guy.
Give him a good follow. You will not regret it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Jesus Christ.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We look forward to seeing you again.
Have a good one.
Cock-a-doodle, cock-a-doodle-dee-doodle. Cock-a-doodle, cock-a-doodle-dee-doodle.